everything just felt like it was against me. And most importantly, everything felt like it was being taken away from me. Everything. I was just like, why is this happening? Why am I losing everything? But now, literally now, 9 months later, I feel like I gained so much. I needed to lose to gain. I needed to get rid of everything to step into who I was supposed to be. I literally needed to let go so I can flow and I can thrive and I can soar and I can fly.
Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming in with a force. Yeah. Blessing the reap and we coursing on full. But we not rise and boast. Yeah, we give thanks like we need it the most. We have to give thanks like we really supposed to be thankful.
Yeah! Welcome back to another episode of Full Cup. It's your girl Ariel Simone, and I am so excited. First of all, I'm excited every episode, but I'm really excited about this episode because it is all about the different phases of deep personal transformation. And to know anything about a transformation, we know that we need to let go of who we was to step into who we want to become. It's not an easy journey. It's not simple, and it's actually really painful. But I feel like it's one of those Phoenix moments where you literally have to burn and turn into dust to rise from the ashes. So I think that's going to give that. I'm not sure. I read this a while ago, so I wanted to bring this back. But if you guys are new to this, we are reading When You're Ready. This is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. This book is a game changer. If you haven't already watched those, go back and tune into those because those episodes are really good and it's going to explain like how we got here. But yeah, y'all, this chapter is all about the 8 phases of deep personal transformation. So let's get into it. But real quick, make sure you are grabbing your juice, your coffee, your mushroom tea, anything that's going to hydrate you, feel good, help you step more into yourself because we're pouring into ourselves physically, energetically, and spiritually. That is a good girl. Right now, I am drinking a green detox juice. It is so refreshing and so hydrating. And I just finished dancing. So I'm just in a really, really good mood. And I'm just excited to talk about this. So let's get into it. Okay. Oh, wow. I was talking about positive already, like positive energy. So the 8 phases of deep personal transformation. Positive change is often planted through seeds that can sometimes make us feel more uncertain, fearful, and anxious than anything else. This is because we often don't think to change our lives until change is the only option that we have. We are hardwired for homeostasis. We are designed to remain in comfort, which is just familiarity. But this isn't always what's best for us, and deep down, we know that at some level. We often find that when we do not heed our intuitive nudges, life tends to present us with circumstances that make us move forward regardless. That's so true. Instead of fearing this process, we should learn to honor it because it means that something greater is often waiting for us on the other side. I feel like I might get personal in this session. These are the 8 things that happen right before your life changes for the better. 1, a catalytic event occurs. Sometimes it's massive, sometimes it's subtle. For many people, the catalyst that prompts them to begin a process of positive disintegration is often the loss of a major relationship, job, or family member. In one way or another, something that you expected to be around for the foreseeable future was taken, and in that, your sense of safety was removed as well. Other times, this event can be much harder to detect. In fact, you may not even realize that anything has happened at all. Instead, what's been planted is a seed of doubt. Maybe you saw an old friend and it prompted you to evaluate your progress in life. Maybe someone close to you is moving on in their life in a big way and it made you rethink what you really want. Maybe your stress and dissatisfaction has simply just started to compile and you find yourself wondering how much longer you can sustain your current routine. Regardless, life almost never changes for the better unless a disruptor is present, something that makes us question and dare to change our own status quo. Now I'm gonna get a little personal with this one because I really feel like this is speaking to me as to why I even moved to Mexico in the first place. A lot of you might not know, but I was forcibly removed from my brownstone apartment in Brooklyn. My landlord was extremely aggressive. He gave us less than 30 days. He pulled out a weapon. He removed the door off my apartment. He removed my furniture and my belongings. It's really a long story and I don't know if I'm there yet to really talk about it. And it's been almost 10 months and I'm still not 100% ready to talk about it publicly, but it was truly traumatizing. I had to call the cops 12 different times and they could do nothing for me because of tenant, how civil court rules. It was really ridiculous, and he really violated me and my neighbor. Something was happening in New York where Airbnb wasn't a thing anymore in September. So I guess because he couldn't Airbnb the other floors, which I didn't even love that he did anyway, to have strangers coming in and out of a brownstone, but I regress, like whatever. But because he couldn't do that, he decided that the two tenants that were there weren't really worth it or like making enough money for him. So he forcibly removed us. He really violated. And I feel like when it comes to your home is such a sacred and intimate and intentional space that it provides you a big, big, big sense of safety, or it should provide you safety. And from the weapon and from figuring out where I needed to live in 30 days, it was really between Mexico or Atlanta. It was between Mexico or Atlanta. I have a lot of family in Atlanta and I have a lot of family in Cali. But I was feeling like Atlanta is closer to New York. It makes more sense. I almost moved to Atlanta, y'all. And I love Atlanta. I love Atlanta. When I pulled up to Atlanta, I'm like, there's so many successful people of color. Like back to back to back, Black owned businesses, Black owned luxury homes, Black people driving luxury cars. I was like, what? I was going to move to Atlanta, but the more research that I did, I ended up just moving to Mexico literally within a 2-week span. I literally had 30 days. I had to get out. I had to figure things out immediately. And I was just so scared and nervous, and I didn't trust myself, and I was just like, what's going on? What's going? Like, it just was not feeling good for me. It wasn't looking good for me either. And everything happens for a reason. So I could really go in about that story, and one day, let me know in the comments if y'all really want to hear it, but one day when I'm ready, I absolutely want to talk about how I was forcibly removed. He removed my pet. He stole my pet. Like, I used to have a snake. He stole my snake. I can't even talk about it for too long without getting emotional, because it was really like bad. Like, it was bad. Okay. Number 2, you're forced out of denial. The thing about things we lose is that they weren't working for a very long time. We just didn't realize it. With the exception of an abrupt or sudden loss of someone you love, or the closure of a company you assume will be around forever. For an example, almost anything we lose in life has often been foreshadowed for a very long time. That relationship ended. It wasn't working for a long time. That's why it's over. That job that you abruptly left, it wasn't working for a long time. That's why you quit. That lifestyle that you were so desperate to keep up with, it wasn't you, which is why you couldn't sustain it. It's really hard to accept this, but so important to acknowledge almost nothing in life leaves us without purpose. It's only a matter of time when we accept this truth. When I tell you this is so true, when it comes down to moving from New York to Mexico City. It was so hard for me to sustain New York, like financially, energetically. It was really taxing on my soul and my mental health. I was feeling like all the meditation, all the workouts, all the journaling, all the self-help books, all the spending time with friends, all the partying. I didn't even party, but all the going out to eat. Like, everything was just keeping me at the bare minimum level of sanity. Like, it just was maintaining me. But now when I'm in Mexico City and I'm in beautiful weather and a lot of green, and I get to walk my dog, and I'm a lot more present, and I have slow, luxurious mornings, and I really take my time on my time. Now everything that I do, from meditation to having everything that I need, it actually feels like it's more than just maintenance, but I'm actually thriving. In New York, I was surviving, barely. I was dragging all the time, very anxious. That city can be so anxiety inducing. It's consistently moving. It's very metropolitan, so it's a busy body. And I just felt like I was always running. I didn't have a good relationship with time. I didn't have a good relationship with myself. Although I was always eating well, always working out, always doing something positive, it just always felt like I was just barely doing not much. And it just was a lot on me. It was a lot on me. It truly was. It wasn't good for me in no other way. I can really go in about it. But I knew New York City was not working for me for a very long time. This was not something new. I knew for a while, like, I just didn't love it. I wasn't thriving. I wasn't in my optimal space. Like, certain cities we thrive in. Certain cities we excel in. And certain cities are our thrive cities. Certain cities make us better, help us propel more into ourselves. And certain cities are taxing on the spirit. Certain cities take from you, drain you, make you tired. It really, like, slows you down in a way that is so hard to, like, keep up with things. And that's exactly what New York City was doing for me. It just was like so negative in so many different ways. And what was keeping me was that it was familiar. My family lives there. I'm from there. My friends are there. It's where I've always lived. It's what I've always known. And that's the thing about this book that is reminding us too, is that when it's familiar, it's because our body wants to stay in homeostasis. It wants to stay where things are balanced, where things are the same. And in order for us to change, to grow, to transform, we need to be put in uncomfortable situations or just take the leap. Or just take the leap. Like I could really go in about this, but or just take the leap. But when it says that relationship that ended, it wasn't working for a long time. That's why it's over. That's so true. There were so many different times I knew that a relationship, a friendship, a city, a job wasn't working, but I still was persevering. I was like, no, this is teaching me discipline. This is teaching me how to be more graceful. This is teaching me how to be more patient. If that is the reoccurring theme and you keep having to learn something, it might not be compatible. And that's so fair. That's so fair. That's a fair assessment. Like, damn, this is a lot of work for a long time. It might not be compatible. If things have to keep teaching you the same lesson over and over and over, it might not be working. And we know that. We know that. We know when things aren't working. We definitely know when things aren't working. And we know when things are working. So this book is like dragging me a little bit, but okay, y'all. I told y'all I might get a little personal here. Okay? Number 3, you feel swells of anger and fear. In the aftermath of the loss, you often find yourself going through the grieving process, even if you didn't actually lose a loved one. All of these emotions are extremely valid. It is healthy and normal to feel angry when a boundary has been crossed and you are facing some sort of injustice. It is healthy and normal to feel sad and scared when life abruptly changes you and you're not sure what's next. It was so terrible having to leave New York. Like, honestly, like I know I keep talking about this, but it was so terrible. First off, to move to any city, I feel like you should have a minimum of $10,000. So at the time I was like, oh my God, where am I going to come up with this money? Like everything just felt like it was against me. And most importantly, everything felt like it was being taken away from me. Everything. I was just like, why is this happening? Why am I losing everything? But now, literally now, 9 months later, I feel like I gained so much. I needed to lose to gain. I needed to get rid of everything to step into who I was supposed to be. I literally needed to let go so I can flow and I can thrive and I can soar and I can fly. Like I did not feel like that at the time. I was like, ah! And now I'm like, get it. Like it's just so different. It's so different. Everything happens for a reason. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but trust me, go through this. Trust me, this is where you grow. This is where you transform. This is where you elevate. This is truly when you fly. Trust me. Trust me. Right now it's like, oh, my wing's not working, but watch when you jump out that window. Watch when you take the leap. Watch how your body and the universe and everything will start conspiring with you. Like, oh, look at you flying, look at you flying, look at you flying. It hit different. It hit different. It hit different. Okay. It says the longer you resist these emotions, the longer they linger. They are a part of the process of great change and offer within them the seeds of the most profound wisdom to come. Oh no, I have no idea when it's unbuttoned. Okay, we back. Number 4, you begin processing old emotions and memories. Before you know it, this seed has sprouted into 1,000 other spirals, all of which have left you questioning all that you are and all that you once hoped to be. That's another thing. I felt like, oh my God, I didn't make it in New York. You know how they always say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And I'm like, dang, I didn't make it in New York. Does that mean I can't make it anywhere? But then I had to start thinking like, what is making it look like? I still have impact. I have influence. I have breath. I have my life. I have my family, my dog, my friends, my support system. I have money. Like, what is it that I lost? I think I lost the idea of who I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be in that brownstone. I thought I was going to be flourishing in New York City, going to all the block parties, enduring another winter. I thought I was doing all of that. And I attached so much of my identity to what I thought I was going to do. But when things change and things are being literally stripped away from you, you have to sit with what you really have and you have to sit with who you really are. And when you have to sit with who you are, you start peeping like, I can do this. I can do that too. Resilience going crazy. Like perseverance going dummy. Like that's how you start feeling. It goes from like low to medium to reflection to accountability to like, oh, all right, now we step into high. No, seriously, okay. And then it goes to say, this does not create these fears and feelings. It revealed them. That's what I mean. Like, it revealed them. Everything that you were clasping so tightly to was a way in which you were shielding yourself from these emotions, many of which you buried so deep inside, you assume that they were gone forever. Emotions often remain within us until they tell us what it is that we need to know. That message is not that we are worthless and unlovable as they often may feel. Instead, the message is usually that we are not holding ourselves within life circumstances that fully honor our worth, and we are not acknowledging just how loved we truly are, and therefore we aren't seeking relationships in which we feel and see the truth reflected at us. Another thing that just came to my mind too is in my brownstone apartment, so many things were going wrong. Like the ceiling was leaking, I had a rat problem, like a legit real rat problem. There were just so many different issues all the time. Like my landlord was always drunk. He was always coming over at 1 a.m. to fix things. Like so many things wasn't working, and I was not honoring what was in my face. I was so obsessed with the idea of things. I was so obsessed with how I wanted things to feel, who I was going to be, this idea that like I just was not facing the facts. The facts is like it was not working. The facts was like what's for me wouldn't feel like this. What for me wouldn't have my ceiling leaking down. Every time it rained, my ceiling was leaking. No funny. Every time it rained, my ceiling was leaking. And it was small things like that that I was just like, no, like I'm supposed to persevere. No, you're not. You're supposed to go. You're supposed to go. Okay. All right, I'm so sorry. In this process of simply remembering what had hurt you in the past and how you felt about it, you will likely realize that a lot of your self-belief was created by experiences that compounded upon one another. And now you're giving yourself the chance to unpack. You'll have a lighter load to bear on the other side. That's another thing. Like when I moved to Mexico City, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like I have time. Like that's such an important thing to feel like you have a minute, you have an hour, and an hour feels like an hour here. I feel like I am like my body isn't tense in certain places anymore. I'm not stressed. I'm not anxious. I'm not rushing. I don't really walk too fast anymore. I don't talk too fast anymore. I'm smiling. I look at the trees. I can see the sky is really blue. I'm much more present. It's small things like that that you don't even realize like how anxious you are, how overly stimulated your central nervous system is until you step out into that and you start stepping into more peace, more solitude. Even my goals changed. My goals changed. When I was in New York, I was like, oh my God, I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to have the best car, the best apartment, the best furniture. I want to show everybody I'm living it. I got the best style. I put that thing on. Like everything was all like external and real material and real showing people what I got and how I live. Whereas out here, I'm just like, I'm living to live. And this is more than enough for me. This is like my whole goals change. I'm like, I just want peace. I want a slow morning. I want to make my own coffee in the morning. I want to literally walk slow. That was my goal when I first moved here. And that is my goal now. I want to walk slow. You don't realize how big of a goal that is when you're always rushing and you're always behind the New York minute, or you're always like, I don't got time. I don't got a second. I want to walk slow. I want to have a deep, intentional, loving relationship with time. I want to be present. It's really important. It's really important. You don't realize it until you're out of it. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I'm living. I'm not working to live and living to work. I am living. I'm being. I'm breathing. It's different. It's different. It's life changing. Like I can get emotional talking about this. Like it's life changing. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but maybe it's your city. Maybe it's your environment. Maybe you need to go. Like look at your astrocartography and just see like what countries, what city will I thrive in? Because it matters. It matters. The air hit different out here, physically and figuratively. Like it really does because the altitude is so thin. But life can get so much better somewhere else and we don't even know. Life can get so much better when we push through our comfort zone, when we step into who we really supposed to turn into, when we move in alignment with who we really supposed to become. Like life can really show us what it has to offer, and it can be peaceful. It can be intentional. It can be stunning. It can be amazing. It can be fruitful. It can be all the things we want it to be. It really can. Then it goes on to say, number 5, you get a glimpse of a better path. Usually towards the end of an unraveling process, right about when you feel like giving up for good, you will probably get a peek at the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe one day out of nowhere, you come up with a novel idea. Maybe you happen to connect with someone who happens to have a job offer that will be perfect for you. Maybe you're prompted to start the business you've been thinking about. Maybe you meet someone. Maybe you move. Maybe you get the feeling that any one of those things is in your immediate future. This is why we're on YouTube now, because I really have the space and the emotional and mental capital to show up and talk to more people, to show up and inspire more people, to show up and teach more people about eating and living and moving for energy. Okay. I feel like I could keep going. In one way or another, you start to get the sneaking suspicion that there might be just something really good around the corner. But at this point, you probably don't quite believe it yet. That's okay. You don't have to. All you have to do is keep stepping forward. Keep going, Miss West. Keep going. Number 6, you start making small adjustments. With those new visions in mind, you start making small changes. Maybe all of your processing and discomfort has prompted you to change the way you style your hair or approach your work or what you do with your spare time. Little by little, you start adapting to your newly emerging self. You find new truths, new staples, and new routines, ones that suit the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. This is also why 75 hard is important. 75 soft holistic is important, because daily routines, those small changes, eating better, having more greens, having more fruits, eating for energy, drinking more ginger shots, drinking more detox juice, making your own juices at home so you're limiting your sugar cravings, knowing what you're going to eat before you eat, knowing how you're going to move your body for the week, knowing how to step into the better and healthier version of yourself little by little, day by day, morning routine by morning routine, nighttime routine by nighttime routine. It's really the small changes, 1% every single day. So by the end of the month, you're like, she's a 30% change. She's a 30% upgrade. All of that, it really matters. The small changes matter. And it's how we build a habit. It's how we stay consistent with it. And it's how it becomes a part of our lives. But okay, so number 7, you take the big leap. Finally, those adjustments start adding up to something and you know it's time to leap forward. This might be actually starting the new job or leaving the old one, moving, or changing something else about your life that once felt completely unmovable. This part of the process is vital because it's the scariest, but it's also the most important. Okay. To truly usher in new and positive things in your life, you often have to reach out for them. This means that you have to step outside of your comfort zone, think and act in ways that you never have, and believe in yourself and your vision more than you ever believed in anything else. This is the leap that the beginning of the process was preparing you for. This was the dream that was hiding deep within you, the one that was nudging you to let go of what you had before, to address the feelings that were blocking your vision and your flow, and the one that is finally ready to become a reality. This has existed within you all along. It's been waiting for you this entire time. You just had to find the courage to choose it. And sometimes that means not giving yourself any other choice. This is the only choice. I'm already down, only choice is up. Only choice is up. If you fall 9 times, only choice is to get up the 10th or the 9th. But yes, the only choice is to level up. I kind of sometimes like that. To be fair, in the moment, I don't like that. But afterwards, after you push through and you persevere and you get through it on the other side, you're like, I like that. I like that a lot. I like the way I had to level up. I like who I had to become. I like the way I had to rise to the occasion. I like that. I like that. Like it just, I don't know. Is it just me? But I like that. I like that. Like, oh, you just transformed me. You just made me change. You just made me change. And it shows you how capable we really are. It shows you how fire we are. It shows you how at any moment we know how to adapt. We know how to pivot. We know how to be flexible, and we know how to rise. We know how to rise. We know how to rise to the occasion. It ain't nothing. We show up. What up? What up? No. Okay. So we're on the last one. You see the purpose in your pain. Finally, you're past the breakthrough and into your new life. If you're one of the very lucky ones, you've made it far enough to understand that there was a purpose in all of this, especially the uncomfortable moments. We was just saying that. If you're aware enough, you might realize that had you not originally been so uncomfortable, you might have gone through the rest of your life with unrealized dreams, holding yourself back out of small and irrational fears and living half the life you were destined to, all because you didn't have the courage to change. Sometimes when we don't step effortlessly toward what it is we're meant to be doing, we create circumstances for ourselves that make it impossible to do anything but move forward. That is so true. That is so true. And another thing is to like always pay attention to your habits because we always have habits. Like even if your habit is always watching TV or always smoking or always eating out or always just doing something unintentional, it is a habit. And there is going to be a time where that habit is going to absolutely force you to stop. Always, always. Like it's going to be a time where it's like you literally cannot do this. Let's see who you become. Let's see who you become right now, taken away from you. It ain't happening. What up now? Who you about to be? What you about to do? How are you about to rise? It always happens like that. Then it says, destiny cannot be denied. Perhaps in this, you might find some peace. Maybe you realize that your emotions are nothing to be afraid of because the storm often clears the skies and waters the seas for your life that you've been asking for, dreaming of, and planning to actually live all along. You just needed a nudge. Y'all, y'all, what do we think? What do we think? What do we think? Because the next chapter is 7 psychological biases that are making you resist your own growth. Next episode's gonna be crazy. But what do we think about this one? Yo, what do we think about this episode? Be honest. What stuck out to you? What hit you like, oh, that might be a fact. Hold on, that might be a fact. What really transformed or changed in you or clicked in you in this episode? Or what's something that you kind of think you already knew and was just like, I knew that and this is what changed me. What are you transforming into right now? What do you need to let go of? Who are you stepping into? What habits are you looking to create right now? Please talk to me in the comments. You know I like to talk back. I love it so much. And y'all, this is the end of this episode. But again, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. This is Full Cup, where we pour into mind, body, soul. We have intentional conversations around self-development, transformation, and growth. We are reading This Is How You Heal by Brianna Wies. We are drinking something refreshing, hydrating, and substantial, something nutrient dense. And that is all for this episode, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Big love, not the little one.